Let me tell you something.
Send their kids to private schools.
I'm going to tell you.
All number one, I'm ready.
Number one, we are one nation under God, and don't make a joke about that.
Do you think there should be Trump Bibles in public schools?
Number two is the issue that the Department of Education has wasted $100 billion a year. So cut the crap. You yourself admit.
Jessica Tarlov is not having a good week. Yesterday, she went viral for saying something crazy. I'm pretty sure Fox News is probably talking to her about her future very soon because these takes are getting even more ridiculous. Now, here she is overly emotional because the Department of Education has just been, well, Donald Trump signed an executive order basically demolishing the Department of Education, and her and every other Democrat is losing their minds over it. And what she says in this episode makes the judge snap. I'm a huge Judge Janine fan. I don't know if you guys are a fan of her, but please let me know. And maybe you guys are a fan of Jessica Tarlov or whatever it is. Make sure to smash the like button and get ready for this. Take a listen.
And when I hear Republicans out there talking about their plan for education in America, I don't hear them talking about making sure disabled kids have access to a public education. I don't hear them talking about impoverished
because we're against
kids.
it.
I know you are. Thank you for admitting it on such a public forum. They want to
Yeah, he was being sarcastic there.
end up privatizing it. They want a voucher system, which means that kids who can't get to those schools, don't have enough money to, or frankly want to go to public schools, won't have access. And they also have all of these religious kooks, like the superintendent of Oklahoma, who wants to spend millions of dollars on Bibles for the schools, Trump Bibles, because it's all a grift. They want to make it private. They want to make them religious institutions. And that goes against what you're supposed to do in America. So does it need reform? Does it need to be made better? 100%.
Aren't we a country under God? And to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God. Is she mocking God? What's going on here, Jessica?
But come on.
All the Democrat politicians
Let me tell you something.
send their
You
kids
tell
to
me.
private schools.
I am going to tell you.
All
Number
right,
one,
I'm ready.
Number one, we are one nation under God, and don't make a joke about that.
Do you think there should be Trump Bibles in public schools?
Number two is the issue that the Department of Education has wasted $100 billion a year. So cut the crap. You yourself admit they don't do any education. Now, you say that Trump is not dismantling. He's already dismantled with Doge. And let me make one thing also clear. Department of Education was created by an executive order by Jimmy Carter as a payback to the unions. Subsequently, Congress came in and created it. And we're going to end it the same way with an executive order dismantling it, subsequently finished by a decision by Congress. Now, let's be real clear. All of these issues as it relates to Pell Grants, special needs, all that stuff is being moved to different departments within Washington. They are not being eliminated, and don't make it sound like these kids are being forgotten because they're not. But if you want to talk about no child left behind, if that's what the Democrat liberals believe in, that screwed us up, screwed our kids more than anything, because no kid left behind made sure that every kid passed. And now we've got kids who can't even read at 8th grade level because they were passed. We have a 19-year-old who graduated with honors who can't read proficiently. All of this Democrat nonsense labelism is for the birds. And let me tell you one more thing. The Constitution does not.
It's for the birds.
Sense label.
Yo, she's going off. I think what really ticked her off is, Jessica Tarlov is mocking God on Fox News. That really ticked her off. That ticked me off too.
Labelism is for the birds. And let me tell you one more thing. The Constitution does not guarantee an education. It is not a federal right. It is not a federal issue. It is something that, under the 10th Amendment to the Constitution, is left to the states. The state constitutions have provisions where you have a right to education. But this is something that is for parents and for educators, for teachers that we do love. We don't love Randy Weingarten and what she did to our kids when she couldn't find one metric in the billions of dollars that we gave her to open the schools to make it safe enough for her and her pals to go to open up those schools. You know what, Randy? Go back to Ukraine for the third time to try to figure out what they're doing in education. And let me tell you one more thing. I'm not done.
One more thing.
One more thing is these kids in China and in Russia that were studying quantum physics while our kids were hiding and doing drugs and alcohol, and the kids in Norway and Denmark and Sweden. We spend more money per kid than any country in the world, and we're losing because of the Democrats. And that's the end of that.
That's the end of that. Hey, she didn't even let Jessica speak after that. Jessica, I think Judge has had enough on you. Ladies and gentlemen, is she wrong? But did she lie though? Department of Education, really, we're not producing right now. We really aren't. And again, this goes back to what The View was melting down about, basically saying that the veterans and I got a lot of veterans that watch. I know that The View was accusing Trump of basically getting rid of government help for our veterans, and that the veterans are now taking the huge hit. But yesterday, veterans are saying that they haven't been treated better. So what's the truth here? So now the Department of Education is the greatest thing to ever happen to America, and we can't dismantle it because it's so beneficial. But is it really? And Democrats like Jessica Tarlov are melting down about Bibles being in schools. We don't even say the Pledge of Allegiance anymore. I can't find a kid that I ask, yo, you know the Pledge of Allegiance? No. When I first came to this country, right? Well, I've always been a part of this country. When I first came to the United States from Puerto Rico, obviously Puerto Rico belongs to the United States of America, which makes me an American by default. Very blessed, by the way. I really like it. I know a lot of Puerto Ricans probably don't share that, but I will say that when I first came, I didn't speak English. And they put me in this class, and I think it was the second period of school. And ladies and gentlemen, I didn't speak English, but one thing that I learned, one of the first things I learned, I remember this, CS 67 in New York. And they were doing the Pledge of Allegiance. And I think this was like 2004, 2003, 2004, 2005. One of those years. It's like one of the first schools I've ever been to. And yeah, I think it was like 2004. And they were doing the Pledge of Allegiance. We don't do that anymore. That's how I know about heart, because I still remember it. But I bet you a lot of kids don't even know what the Pledge of Allegiance is. They used to stop the school to do the Pledge of Allegiance. We don't even do that anymore. People aren't even proud to be American. It's crazy. The best country ever. Yeah, we have a lot of problems and we have bad history, sure, but we're moving forward. But Jessica Tarlov has had a very bad week. You don't believe me? Well, ladies and gentlemen, she's getting a lot of flack, and I'm talking about a lot of flack for this take that she had yesterday on the show. Now, Judge Janine was not on this one, but this one yesterday had everybody flabbergasted because she decided to say one of the craziest things in the world. She decided to basically, she decided to compare what's happening with Teslas to Bud Light. Take a listen.
You guys know, I think Elon Musk has done a tremendous amount of good. I think Starlink is one of the more exciting modern discoveries or creations that there is. I, again, reiterate, I draw the line at arson. No one should be setting cars on fire.
But
I would argue, no, this is an important point. It's a free market point. But also, we talked about Dylan Mulvaney, a single trans influencer who was on a single can of beer for months. And that can of beer set the conservative movement on proverbial fire, rooting against at least half an American company, the Anheuser-Busch side of things. Kid Rock out there doing target practice with Budweiser cans, people vowing to decimate that brand. And Dylan Mulvaney has much less of an impact on.
Is she serious? Yeah, you see why she's so bad? How does this make sense? Were the conservatives burning down Bud Light trucks as they drove? Were they terrorizing Bud Light? They saw a truck, they popped the wheels of the truck? No. In fact, they bought some beers, they shot at the beer cans, yeah, for sure. But that wasn't anybody's property. They bought it and they destroyed it. Just like everybody does when they have a beer can, they throw it out. Tesla is not the same. People drive it, people invest in the stock, Americans are employed by this company. It's America's #1 manufacturing car company right now, next to Hyundai. Hello, what's going on? She serious?
On people's lives than Elon Musk does. So is that okay? Or that was wrong too, and everyone wants to mea culpa over that. It was one can of beer with one transgender person on it.
No one was intimidated not to buy Bud.
Yeah, just look at Greg's face, man. Greg.
Bud
Really?
Light.
Then why did it drop?
No,
why did they lose market value?
Because it wasn't Dylan Mulvaney. It was the marketing person who denigrated the people who drank the beer.
Really, Dylan Mulvaney didn't get denigrated?
Because she did. He did.
Sorry.
I correct myself.
So you get where I'm going with this, right? Yeah, crazy show. She has not had a good week. And now this one that just happened today, where she is now mocking God, that's also going viral. Ladies and gentlemen, liberals, they're having a tough time. Now, Mark Halperin literally made a prediction. He made a prediction about Democrats. He said that if Democrats lose this election, Trump would have broken their brain to the point that they would face a mental crisis. I'm going to leave you with this video. They will face a mental crisis. And I think that's what we're having today. Ladies and gentlemen, smash the like button. Enjoy this video.
A lot of Democrats, maybe the majority, believe that Trump becoming president again is the worst thing that ever could happen. So how do they respond to that?
I say this not flippantly. I think it will be the cause of the greatest mental health crisis in the history of the country. I think tens of millions of people will question their connection to the nation, their connection to other human beings, their connection to their vision of what their future for them and their children could be like.